Hey, good morning, folks. Welcome to another live stream with Montana Outdoor Science School. My name is Melanie, and today's subject is all about Madagascar hissing cockroaches. Moss is an organization. We try to get folks excited about science. We try to get students excited about nature. We have programs that we run through summer and through the school year. We go to classrooms. Classrooms also come to us. We also hold summer camps as well. All kinds of things happen at Moss. We do all kinds of science demonstrations, field trips. We also have animal ambassadors, which is exactly what we're working with here today. In my little cage here, I have a handful of cockroaches, and I wanted to say before we get started that I am going to be pulling them out, so if you're uncomfortable watching insects in any kind of manner, just know that that is coming. I have their little mobile habitat here. The mobile habitat is kind of fun and cute. They have, of course, their little hidey hole. They also have some food, and they have this jelly stuff, and this is what kids really get curious about. They ask, what is that jelly stuff? And that is essentially it's water in a gelatinous form. It has a little bit of nutrients in it, but mostly it contains water, and so the hissing cockroaches can go and have a little bit of something to drink while they're in here. Cockroaches are, of course, from Madagascar. Madagascar is an island off the coast of Africa, and specifically, these guys live in the wet forest part of Madagascar. They are not necessarily native to the drier regions of Madagascar, but what makes them very cool is the hisses that they do. They're not an aggressive, makes them really great animal ambassadors for moss. They are, in fact, pretty defenseless when it comes to being able to live out in the wild. Madagascar hissing cockroaches, they don't have a strong bite. They don't have jaws big enough to hurt a person. They don't have any stingers. They're not poisonous to animals that might eat them. They're not venomous if they did try to bite something. They really just have a couple things to help them out. They have an exoskeleton, like all insects, and they also are able to hiss. And I have been not pulling them out just yet because I wanted to give everyone an opportunity to maybe hear them hiss as I pulled them out. Now, I have already handled them once today. We'll see if they actually hiss again or not. One of them did when I pulled him out. But I'm going to lift up their little log here, and I will show you guys what they look like. Let's listen and see if they do make another hiss. I think I'm going to try to get this one and see if he'll hiss. Oh. Well, he didn't make a noise. However, he is still a pretty cool creature. Like I said, these guys are really great animals to have for the office and for students to be able to see and to handle. The Madagascar hissing cockroaches are really gentle animals. They aren't aggressive to people. They're really easy to take care of. Some of the ways in which they are easy to take care of is their food. So we have in here these little pellets, but in the wild, Madagascar hissing cockroaches are decomposers. And a decomposer is any animal that helps to break down dead organic material, and it then gets recycled and back into the environment through decomposers. These guys in their natural habitat would be looking for rotting plants on the forest floor. They would be looking for fallen wood. They would be munching on anything that was already dead that is typically a plant. I don't believe that these guys eat anything that's organic that comes from dead creatures. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty 99% sure that they do not eat anything other than plant material. You can see how good of a grip he's got on me. He's got these tiny, tiny little hooks. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. There we go. If you can see, those tiny little legs have little itty bitty hooks on them. They don't hurt or anything, and he just uses that to hold on to me. Specifically, I'm calling this one a he because you can tell this one is a male. If y'all can see, do you see how right up here where my thumb is? Those are horns. They're called horns because this male will use them much like animals use antlers or horns. He, being a male, will be somewhat territorial over his domain and over females that he may have an opportunity to mate with, and he'll use his horns to actually buck at other males to try to push him off a branch or to push him off a high point in the forest. We've seen this at moss, and it's always pretty interesting. They don't do it very often, but every now and again two males will come face to face. They'll hiss at each other, and then they will buck at one another. I didn't finish my thought either on the hissing. Because they are defenseless in the wild, except for their exoskeleton, their only means to scare off predators and other males, if they are male or female, is they have to hiss. And the hiss is quite something. It is pretty loud. It's pretty unexpected too sometimes, and it's enough to scare animals into not wanting to mess with them. Let's see if I can get another one to hiss. I'm going to put this guy back. Let's see if he'll hiss for us. Nope, he's not going to hiss for us. That's okay. I'll set him back gently. Here you go, friend. All right, let's see if I can get a different one to hiss instead. I might go, let's see, I might go for this female here. Come on. Oh, that one didn't hiss either for us. That's okay. Let's talk about females for a second, though, while I've got a female here. You can see on her, she has a very, very different upper plate here on her armor, her exoskeleton. She doesn't have those little nubs the way the male does, and that is because she's not necessarily fighting over territory or other mates the way the males are. She can hiss as well. She might hiss to alert other cockroaches or to scare off a predator, but she's typically, or in my experience, I've typically found that the males tend to hiss more than the females, especially when they get picked up. Ooh, if you guys can see, do you see that little bug crawling around there? That is a mite on the cockroach, and the cockroach and the mite share a symbiotic relationship, meaning they share a relationship where one of them or both of them benefits. In this case, both creatures benefit from the relationship. I believe it's called a mutualistic relationship. Let me see if I can flip her over so you guys can see more of them. The hissing cockroaches, they go about cleaning up the forest floor. They are getting into decomposing things. Something they also might come in contact with is funguses, though. And these mites help them to keep the fungus from making them ill. They keep the cockroaches clean. They're kind of like a little helper, little cleaner. Oh yeah, do you guys see them? They're kind of in all the little nooks and crannies there. They're just barely moving. I'll see if I can point it out with my pen here. If you guys can see where my pen is pointing, those are some right in there. They're often in the head area. Oh, let's see if I can get that camera to focus again. There we go. Oh yeah, you can see them all up in these little nooks and crannies right under here. A lot of kids ask, they'll see the cockroach from this end and they'll be like, where's the head? And the head is right under there. Right there. There's her head. Her antenna sit just underneath her eyes. And her eye, there we go. Her eye is right there. I'm not going to poke her in the eye, but I wanted to show you guys where that is. Like all insects, she has 6 legs, and like all insects, Madagascar hissing cockroaches have an exoskeleton. Their exoskeleton is one of the few ways they can defend themselves if hissing doesn't work. Exoskeleton is a word that means skeleton on the outside. And they have this armor on the outside across their whole body. And unlike us, we have our skeleton on the inside and then we have soft tissues on the outside. Their soft tissues are on the inside of theirs. And it's similar structure as it is for us. Our skeleton gives us support. Their exoskeleton gives them support. And their exoskeleton also is where muscles attach, just like on our skeleton. That's where our muscles attach. Because their skeleton is on the outside, oh yeah, you can see some more of those little mites crawling around. Neat. Because their skeleton is on the outside, it means as they grow, they have to shed that outside layer. And I'm going to show you guys a little example of what that looks like. So they often will leave behind a little like carcass looking thing. It's not a carcass, it's actually what their old shed ends up being. So this is a shell of one of our Madagascar hissing cockroaches. You can see there's kind of a slit right through the top there. Can I get that to focus? Maybe. Yeah, there we go. You can see there's like a slit right there through the top. That's where the Madagascar hissing cockroach emerged, and then it left behind this old shell. It was smaller than its new shell, so it had to outgrow it. You see this a lot in almost all insects. I'm pretty sure all insects must be molting and shedding their exoskeleton. And then furthermore, as they emerge, you can see that these two are about the same color. She is kind of brown on her back end, dark towards the top. Same thing here, but right after emerging, they're a very, very pale color, and it's kind of alarming if you don't know what's going on. It can be sort of scary. You don't realize that there's a white cockroach in there. But then after a few hours, they'll start to darken back up into this nice brown and black status. They are kind of vulnerable during that time when they are more pale. If they are attacked, I'm sure that they would try to do the hissing motion again to try to scare the predators. It's one of their few defenses. Let me see if I can get another one to hiss. So we've picked up one male, one female. I've got a few others in here I've not picked up yet during our session. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can get the other female to hiss. Ready? Let's listen, everybody. All right. So this lady is definitely willing to hiss for us. That was awesome. I hope y'all were able to hear that. Let me know if you didn't. I'll see if I can get them to hiss again. Ooh, do y'all see how she's got these kind of white streaks on the side? So I believe that means she is getting ready to shed. They do outgrow those sheds, like I said. They have to get out of their old exoskeleton and very slowly develop and harden that new exoskeleton. Oh, come here, little one. She's not holding on to me very good, but now she has her. You can see her little hooks on her legs again are holding on to me. Females are neat, especially this cockroach species, because they actually give live birth. It's very interesting, and we had an opportunity to see this a couple summers ago at Moss, right in the office. The females will actually regulate the temperature of their eggs while they're inside their body, but they do this by either bringing them inside their body as eggs, or they'll push the eggs outside of their body if they need them to cool down. And what it ends up looking like is from her tail end, she'll push out kind of like a column. It almost looks like a banana out her rear end, and that will then it'll be like a column of eggs that are able to either cool down or warm up based on where she wants them. She'll take them back into her body though for the actual birth itself. The eggs hatch inside her body, and then they emerge as really, really tiny little babies. We do have some babies at work right now. I tried to find some, but they're so small and they're so good at hiding, I couldn't find any. So I apologize not being able to get you guys some examples of those. But they're one of the few insect species that will give live birth, which is pretty neat. Something else that's interesting about this species, most cockroaches will grow wings once they get to the adult stage. Not true for Madagascar hissing cockroaches. They always remain flightless. They pretty much look the same from their juvenile stages through their adult stages. Versus a lot of other cockroach species and many other flying insects, they will look very different between the juvenile stage and the adult stage because they'll grow those wings. So, let me see if I can get one more of these to hiss again for you guys. They're pretty neat and they're very easy. They're very docile. When I first joined Moss, I was always a little bit afraid of the cockroaches. And one of my coworkers showed me how easy it is to pick them up, how gentle they are. Even though they might hiss, they are very, very calm animals to have. Let's see if we can get one of these males to hiss. Again, these ones are males because you can see they've got horns on the first part of their armor versus, say, this female here. She has some little nubs, but they're not very big at all. So let's see if we can get one of these guys to hiss this time. Ready? Let's listen, everyone. All right. What a good hissing cockroach. That was great. So we've got a male here. He's a little smaller than the other male I picked up earlier. He will continue to grow. He'll continue to molt. But again, you can see those horns on the top. They're not quite as developed as the other bigger males. Oh, and you can see all those little mites on the inside moving around. Look at that. That's incredible. What good little mites helping the cockroach. Oh, I meant to say too, those mites, not only are they helping the cockroach to clean him, but they are also receiving a safe place to themselves live. They get to live under the armor of the hissing cockroaches. They don't have to worry about basically finding a habitat, because their habitat is provided everywhere in the hissing cockroach there themselves. Oh man, these are my favorite creatures for sure that we have at the office. Let me get the last male. We'll see if he will hiss for us or not. And then it'll probably be me to go. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to type in the comments your questions. We'll be happy to answer them for you. Oh. Here we go. Ooh, this one's very active, but not hissing at all. Oh, come here, friend. There we go. Oh no, he really wants to move, doesn't he? Let's see if I can get him to stay still for the camera. Wow, this one's active. I often find that the males are a lot more active than the females are. The females tend to be pretty still and pretty easy to take care of versus the males. They want to move around a lot more. Oh, come here, buddy. I might put him back just because he is so mobile. I can't quite get him to stay still for the camera for you guys. Wow, what a guy. There you go, friend. So again, Madagascar hissing cockroaches, super neat creatures, super easy to care for, super good ambassador animals. They don't have any problem with being picked up for the most part. They're not aggressive to humans. They're very neat creatures. So I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to take a look at those. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you next time with another live stream from Montana Outdoor Science School. We do them every Wednesday at 11 o'clock, every Friday at 11 o'clock, and we will keep holding these while we are all indoors for the coronavirus quarantine. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and happy Easter.